how to release control to get everything that you actually want. This video is for the person who has to plan, structure, and anticipate every single move in their entire life. For the person who has anxiety about the future, criticizes their past, and cannot be present in the actual moment. And that's completely fine, but that just means that you're trying to control way too much about your life, and it might actually be making the quality of your life less. The reason that you're not getting anything that you actually want or plan to get is because you're trying to control everything, so you've got to stop that. I'm going to explain how we can do that together. I'm really excited for this topic because this affects me so personally, and it's something that I've actually had to overcome myself. So all this is from experience, and all this actually does work. If you take these 4 steps and you try to implement them into your everyday life, then you will see results. I'm going to be giving you 4 steps on things to implement into your life, or ways to look at stuff to be able to release control in order to start attracting and getting the things that you actually want in this life. Now, before I even go into the 4 steps, I want to talk about what control itself actually is and what it looks like. Control is something that we perceive. So we have very little control over 90% of the things that actually happen to us. We have tangible controllables, which is what we do every morning. Maybe it's a morning routine, maybe it's a nighttime routine, maybe it's these small structures that give us the perceived ability to control. And to a degree, we have control of ourselves, but at the end of the day, we can't even control the things that happen to us. You see people who are perfectly healthy get all these illnesses, or you see good people, horrible things happen because we actually have very little control over the things that we do. Even if we do every single thing in our ability to live the perfect life, we really have to realize that we are beings that are surrounded by so many uncontrollables that if we are trying to consistently hold on to something in our life, it's actually going to make our quality of life way less. Understanding that control is a perception thing and it's not actually something that is super tangible to the degree that we believe it to be. Now that we understand control as a concept, now we can go into the 4 steps of how to release control in order to attract the things that you actually want. The first one is the most obvious one, and this is be present in the moment. Even if you've heard this before, maybe you aren't actually taking account of what being present in the moment actually means. You're so structured that you plan, but never actually execute. This is a control issue. I was one of those people who I would plan every single thing. I had my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan. I knew what my week was going to look like. I had all these ideas that I wanted to do. I was doing so much research on stuff, but I was never actually executing on one of those things in its entirety because I was trying to control too much that I ended up actually doing nothing towards what I actually wanted to control. And when I think about it, the things that I over-planned and never executed on were the things that didn't actually get me to where I am right now. The things that got me to where I am right now are the things that I just honestly in the moment decided to do and couldn't plan too much in advance to do. Whether it's seeing a random job on LinkedIn and applying to it and not overthinking it, and getting into an interview that you feel like maybe you didn't try to plan and prepare too much for and you actually did amazing. It's because you released control and you took power of yourself in the present, what you actually know. You stop trying to anticipate every move, and this is the biggest one, is being present in the moment and doing things at this time. What I've realized with control is now is the only moment that we have, and if you are a person who wants to have your hand on every single thing, you'll start to realize that the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist, and we're really living in a continuation of just the present. It's always now, 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 now. You cannot alter your past. You cannot change or predict your future. All you can do is a continuation of living in the present moment. And once you really understand this concept, it's going to change your ability to think about control and what you actually can do for yourself. If you want to get the things that you want, it's all about what you're doing in this exact present moment. It's not about what you're anticipating to come next, and it's not about what you're criticizing in the past. So if you've done something in the past, it's totally fine to look back and say, this is what I can do better, but you have to implement it right now. You can't say, this is what I'm going to do better in the future. It's about living in this exact moment, right in this moment. The journey that I'm on currently, I am starting to become the person that I anticipated for many years to be, and I never actually was taking action because I was like, oh, I'll do this when I get enough money saved up, I'll do this. Or when I have the exact plan of how I'm going to execute and I have everyone backing me up, like this is what I'm going to do. When in reality, the reason that I am where I am right in this moment is because I just released all control and I stepped into it and I said, I'm just going to do this right now. And I simply started doing it right now. We are underestimating the power of right now, just doing it. Just do it. Whatever it is, just do it. If it's someone that you want to talk to, just do it. Don't anticipate it. If it's a job, just do it. If it's something that you want to be, just do it. Now I understand why Nike says just do it, because they actually mean it. Everything that you want to be is an accumulation of what you're doing in this moment. So look at your life right now and think about all the things that you're trying to control in the future, in the past, and think about what you're doing right now to become the person that you want to be and attract the things that you want to attract and do the things that you want to do. Tip number 2 is when bad things happen to you, reframing your mind. Everything actually happens for you and it doesn't happen to you. And once you start thinking about life in that way, you'll start to be able to take everything that happens to you and be able to apply it to a better version of yourself. When bad things happen to us, we see it as, I have no control. Why did this happen? It starts to stress people out because they're like, of course this is going to happen to me. I've done everything I could to prevent this happening, or I've done everything right and this happens to me. When bad things happen, or things that we perceive as things that are actually going to push us back, it's all happening for a reason that we can't see yet. So it's all about how you react in this exact moment. Whenever you look back on your life and you think, oh, I actually wouldn't be here if I didn't not get that job, if I didn't have that breakup. But in those moments, we were perceiving those negative things as, I wish that I could control this. Why is this happening? I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I don't deserve this. And instead of thinking of negative situations like that, we have to reframe our thinking to think, why is this happening? This is happening for a reason, but what is this happening for a reason that I can't see yet? And once you start to reframe your mind that this might not actually be a bad thing, even though it's perceived as a bad thing right now, my future self is going to look back and say, I would never be where I'm going to be if that bad thing didn't happen to me. Reframing your thought process that whenever things that we can't control or bad things happen to us, it's all happening for a reason. So that perceived control that we have of whatever that scenario or situation is actually something that is going to boost or align us or push us in the direction that we needed to be. Example, me losing my job a couple months ago is now pushing me in the direction of the person I always wanted to be. And in the moment when I didn't have my job anymore, I was stressed and I was freaking out. And of course, it's a very scary thing. And in the moment, I wasn't thinking very positively about it. But now I'm thinking, this is all happening for me, but what's the reason that it's happening? It's happening to align me and push me to where I want to be, or I can try to control everything, stress out, and be miserable sitting at home because I'm so anxious and so scared and trying to control everything that I'm not taking action to do anything that I want to do. Reframing the thought process of when things happen that we cannot control, it's happening for a reason to teach us something or push us in the direction that we want to be. Tip number 3 is stop trying to control the people around you, whether it be boyfriends, friendships, family members, and you do this by the let them method. Now, the let them method is something that is talked about by Mel Robbins. It's this concept that when someone does something to you that maybe hurts your feelings or you don't like, let them. It's simple. Let them. Stop trying to control people because you will always have a negative outcome, and it only really affects you when you try to control others. When someone doesn't call you back after you've called them repeatedly or try to support them or show up for them, let them. After a certain point, you have to take your hands off because the harder that you try to grip and hold on to things, the harder they're just going to push you away. And you think about people who have children. The more you try to control a child, the more they are to rebel. So if we think about that in our life as a whole, the more you try to control your life, the more your life is going to go in the opposite direction of what you actually want. You have to let variables that we cannot control come in and out because it's all helping to shape the person that we are, and it's helping to push us in the direction that we want to be, the direction that you want to be in. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to friendships, we feel like we want the best for people, and that's when we try to control them, or some people use control as a manipulation method. You guys aren't that, obviously, if you're watching this video. But the more that you try to control your friend or save her from that toxic relationship repeatedly, and she keeps doing things and it's hurting your feelings or it's making you angry, it's only bringing you down. Whenever a plane is going down and the oxygen is released, they always say you put on your oxygen first and then you help the people around you. They say this because you cannot help anyone if you're not grounded first. If you're not safe first. Trying to control other people makes it so that you are not safe within yourself. If you are safe within yourself, you won't have the need or the want to control other people because you will understand that life as a whole is meant to be lived. Not everybody has the same perception as you. Not everybody has the same goals as you. Not everybody has the same wants as you. So what's the point of trying to control them? There is none. When we think about forcing people to do things, forcing relationships, that's not actually getting what you want, and it's not attracting what you want because you're pushing someone to do something for you. The whole idea of getting what you want and attracting what you want is that like attracts like. So if you're forcing something, you're not actually going to be getting what you want. You're going to be getting what you force, getting what you're pushing for, and it's not always what you actually want. Releasing control of other people actually makes your relationships stronger. It actually makes people love you more. It actually makes people come to you more. Even in dating, when you stop trying to tell people what to do for you, how to show up for you, you get to see what they're actually like, and you get to decide whether or not that's the kind of person that you want in your life. So you're actually getting what you want without having to force it. It's gonna come way easier than you trying to tell people what to do, control them, and then be emotionally distressed when it doesn't come out the way that you want it to. That's a big one, and it's a very hard one to learn, and it's a really hard one for people to execute. But once you master, stop trying to control other people, you will find so much happiness in yourself, and you'll start attracting and getting the things that you actually want out of your relationships. Number 4 is have a small set of controllables and understand that the rest of your day is out of your control. What I mean by this is you'll see really successful people have morning routines or night routines, or maybe it's reading a book for 15 minutes. It's something that you do every day that you feel that you have the complete mastery of. It's something that you get full decision of. This is really helpful for people who try to control everything, because during our days, when you go into a business meeting, when you're driving on the road, you can't control traffic. You can't control whether or not someone's driving crazy. You can't control whether or not the keynote speaker at the event is late. But what you can control is you got up early this morning and you did your meditation, so you set up your day for success. Or you got up this morning and you did your makeup the way that you like. Those are the things that we can emphasize and put effort into. They're small controllables, and these are things that you can actually tangibly do to help your sense of control during the day. It also helps to regulate your emotion in some way, because again, if you wake up and you have control of your morning and then the rest of your day is completely out of your control, as someone who pushes to get what you want out of the day, you'll know that you've done something to help with the stability of your mind. Stability of your mind is a practice, and it's something that you have to do every single day. It's not something that you're born with and you keep forever. That's why people practice yoga. That's why people practice meditation. That's why people work out. It's something that you're constantly doing, and working on your control works the exact same way. It's a muscle. It's something that you have to practice. It's something that you have to understand. It's something that you have to work towards. If you do have small things that you find to be ritualistic, that you find every day that you really want to do, or that you feel helps you mentally, those are the things that you need to have control over, and everything else you just have to understand, go with the flow. When you start implementing these 4 tips and 4 concepts, you'll start to understand that everything that you wanted was actually on the other side of trying to force it. Control is a force. Things do not happen just because we want them to happen. They happen because it's the right time and the right place, and it was when it was bound to happen. You can't control whether or not you're going to get married tomorrow. You can't force that, especially if you're someone who actually wants the dream husband, wants the dream partner. You have to wait for the right time. And as much as you try to force or push or find a partner, it's not going to be the right one that you actually want if you're trying to make it happen before it's ready. People don't do things before they're ready. So what's the point of trying to force something? We can never be ready for situations if we don't have the preparation period. And the preparation period is everything that happens between getting what we want and being where we are presently. That whole in between is the preparation. Bad things happen in the preparation stage. Nothing happens in the preparation stage. Things go the opposite way that we want in the preparation stage. And what this is doing is it's making us the person who's deserving of all the things that we are trying to control to make happen in our life. Whatever you want is on the other side of things happening to build you into the person that gets what is deserving on the other side of trying to control everything. The last example I want to give is if you listen to very successful people talk, they will always talk about 50% of what they got was from trying and controlling, and the other 50 was right time, right place, and honestly luck. So if you think about that as your life, there's only very small and little things that you can control, and the other is up to chance. And once you accept that fact, and once you start to embrace that fact, and once you start to live by that fact, you're going to start seeing that everything that you actually want is going to start coming to you, or it's going to somehow start pushing you in the direction, whether you like it or not, because it's always out of your control. There's only certain things that you can do, and when things happen to push you in the opposite direction, go with the flow. Stop trying to fight the stream of things that are happening. The more that you fight it, the more that it's going to stress you out, and the more it's going to push you into the opposite direction of what you actually want. If we think in life, everything is energy. Only God decides whether or not you get something, so you need to start being able to categorize the small things that you actually have perceived control over and the things that you never had control over, even if you believed you did. I hope that these tips help you when you're listening to this, that you're taking it on board and that you feel empowered by this. Release control. You will get what you want once you stop trying to force everything. Start doing things right now that you care about and stop trying to control the outcome or the future of them. If you like this video and want more of them in the future, feel free to comment below. Let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram with any ideas, suggestions, or topics that you like. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and I will talk to you in the next video. Mwah. Bye.